That courtroom was an absolute icebox. Tina Campbell stood paralyzed, fingers shaking, as the brutal hammer of karma finally smashed her to pieces. For decades, her holier-than-thou vocals supposedly blessed millions, a global gospel saint serving pure light to the masses. But right now, the playlist has officially ended. A wild $300 million legal judgment erased her bank account in one swift click. And as the juicy rumors of a horrific 10-year prison stint set the internet ablaze, the lady who used to pack out arenas with holy worship sank into a pathetic, desperate state of shock. Stare right at your monitor. This is not your average celebrity train wreck. This is the hilarious, pathetic spectacle of a mother, a spouse, and a fallen diva watching her entire world, her messy household, and her whole identity turned to literal garbage. Millions of gullible stans online are currently sobbing, forced to scream the most dramatic question of them all. Is this the actual ultimate downfall of the gospel diva? Do not scroll away, because the toxic reality we are about to expose next is going to completely melt your brain cells. The temperature inside that room was absolutely freezing, a miserable vibe smothering the space while Tina Campbell stood there looking totally brain-dead. Her hands were shaking like crazy, her fingernails digging deep into the defense desk as the agonizing realization of her scams finally ruined her mood. For eras, her overhyped vocals allegedly saved millions across the planet. She was the supreme gospel diva, an untouchable machine of piety who sold hope, joy, and cheap redemption to every desperate soul on earth. But right now, the grift has officially ended. A massive $300 million penalty destroyed her whole operation in a single, beautiful moment. As the delicious gossip of a harsh 10-year jail term traveled fast across social media, the woman who once filled stadiums with religious hype folded completely, hiding in a miserable, panicked silence that seemed vastly more dramatic than actual death. This is definitely not the typical legal drama of some rich celebrity getting slapped by a basic lawsuit. This is the hilarious, thoroughly embarrassing view of a mother, a codependent spouse, and a disgraced icon watching her whole existence, her chaotic domestic setup, and her overblown career crash and burn straight down to hell right in front of us. Millions of brainwashed followers everywhere are crying actual tears right now, gluing their eyes to TikTok in total shock, forced to ask the most pathetic and desperate question ever. Is this truly the messy, final exit for our holy leader? The vibe in that legal chamber was not merely awkward. It felt like a dumpster fire for an empire that took decades to manufacture but only minutes to vaporize. For years, Tina Campbell was worshipped not only for her loud vocal runs, but for her toxic, oversharing personality. She was the chick who cashed checks off her messy marriage, parading her petty grudges and marital warfare on reality television for views. Still, absolutely nothing could have prepared her inner circle, or the religious music market, for an economic and judicial disaster of this scale. A $300 million penalty is a literal death sentence for her brand, a comical amount of money that completely wipes out every single thing she ever bragged about, draining the cash, the vanity, and the financial stability of the Campbell estate. Beyond those legal walls, the internet comment sections are having an absolute field day. Trending threads, messy TikTok rants, and panicked blogs are moving at lightning speed, screaming that the magistrate's official signature locks the gospel singer away for a whole decade in a federal cage. Scheme, massive tax evasion, and shady backroom agreements are being mocked in every corner of the entertainment world. The exact same industry that used to treat her like a god is now happily roasting her carcass. And through the chaos, Tina's total lack of a statement speaks louder than any generic PR apology. It is a sketchy, guilty quietness that simply feeds the internet trolls, making both haters and heartbroken stans realize that the federal mess she created is significantly nastier and sketchier than anyone ever guessed. Stare very closely at the collateral damage trapped in this massive dumpster fire. This disaster goes way beyond Tina. The dramatic fallout is completely wrecking the exact people she claims to cherish. Her man, Teddy Campbell, a guy who stuck around through the most embarrassing public cheating scandals of their marriage, now looks totally checked out, drained by the pure panic of a 10-year lockup situation. His usual macho energy has completely evaporated, replaced by the hilarious stress of a husband watching his sugar mama face complete career death. Even their kid, Leia Simone, has been dragged right into the middle of this toxic whirlpool of domestic chaos and public humiliation, her teenage years ruined by a trashy nightmare no kid should ever have to see. The whole foundation of their house has been totally demolished. The timeline is now completely fractured. On one side, brainwash stans are staging online vigils, praying fiercely that this whole mess is just a massive glitch, a bitter hit job designed to assassinate the character of an allegedly holy diva. On the other side, the ruthless internet knows the receipts are way too messy to ignore, mocking the fact that even the most dramatic holy rollers have to face the music when they get caught in shady backroom scams. The drama, the backstabbing, the sheer audacity, it is a massive wave of entertainment that has completely paralyzed the commentary community. Stick around, because the toxic truth we are dropping right now is going to challenge every single thing you assumed, and it will completely scramble your remaining brain cells. To grasp how an untouchable gospel titan could trip and fall into such a pathetic dumpster fire, we have to look straight at the shaky foundation of her corporate empire. Tina Campbell was never some generic backup singer in the entertainment business. She was a foundational architect of commercialized modern gospel. 4 decades, performing alongside her sibling in that legendary hit machine Mary Mary, Tina did not just drop tracks, she completely commercialized the entire religious market. Her brand was massive, aggressive, and utterly impossible to ignore. She wielded a loud, arena-shaking vocal power capable of making a whole stadium weep on command. Her catalog served as the ultimate playlist for millions of desperate lives, selling cheap comfort during family tragedies, fake hope during broke seasons, and a highly profitable message of piety. She held a position of ridiculous spiritual clout, getting name-dropped by major politicians, rubbing shoulders with Hollywood elites, and getting blindly worshipped by a deeply obsessed global fanbase that treated her like an untouchable deity. But beneath the bright studio spotlights and the overproduced vocal arrangements of her discography, a vastly more toxic personality was cooking. While the public happily labeled her the ultimate gospel icon, the industry behind the curtain knew her by a much cleaner title, the Queen of Pure Chaos. Tina was never a pop star who had the discipline to hide behind a polished PR team. She was loud, utterly unhinged, and completely prone to public meltdowns. Whatever petty thought popped into her head, she screamed it. Whatever toxic rage consumed her, she broadcasted it for a check. This explosive energy became her entire identity. She literally moneized the darkest, ugliest secrets of her marriage on reality television, flashing her extreme jealousy, her violent outbursts, and her chaotic temper for ratings. The internet was completely hooked on this circus, confusing her toxic behavior for raw passion and genuine authenticity. But as the years dragged on, that exact unhinged behavior began leaking into financial spaces far more dangerous than generic reality TV scripts. Behind the closed doors of her multi-million-dollar business, a messy, twisted web of corporate fraud was quietly being woven. For the longest time, the sheer scale of her celebrity and the holy themes of her discography acted as the ultimate corporate shield. Nobody wanted to audit the tax documents of a lady singing so loudly about Jesus. Nobody dared to investigate the financial accounting of an untouchable church influencer. But while the gullible fans were completely lost in the emotional highs of her worship tracks, quiet rumors began circulating through the elite offices of the music business. Rumors of predatory artist contracts, highly illegal shell companies, and a complete and utter disregard for federal tax laws. Tina's massive ego, the exact same trait that made her an aggressive performer on stage, became her ultimate downfall in the corporate boardroom. She operated under the delusional belief that her celebrity status made her completely immune to lawsuits, assuming that the chaotic manipulation she used in her marriage could work on massive federal banking systems. Sketchy contracts were reportedly signed in the dark, massive piles of undeclared cash began moving through shady offshore channels, and corporate embezzlement became the standard routine for her brand. Her entire catalog, which took decades of heavy marketing and stadium tours to build, was quietly and recklessly being pawned off for quick cash flow and high-risk corporate gambles. The absolute comedy of her downfall is completely mind-blowing. The exact same mouth that preached financial tithing, moral integrity, and divine judgment to millions of working-class followers was reportedly masking a massive corporate scam. Millions of dollars were passing through her bank accounts, but instead of securing a real financial legacy, she was building a terrifying, completely illegal mountain of hidden debt and fraudulent accounting tricks. She was happily tap dancing on a financial volcano, completely convinced that the IRS would never show up. She assumed her gospel fame would protect her from consequences forever, believing the Queen of Chaos could outrun a federal investigation. But in the ruthless world of corporate auditing and federal white-collar law, chaos gets you indicted. And as the hidden fractures in her fake empire began to tear wide open, the stage was quietly being set for a humiliating, catastrophic collapse that would completely rock the entertainment industry. The quiet rumors that had been floating around the shady corners of the music business finally exploded into mainstream headlines, and when the federal judge dropped the hammer, it hit with a force that nobody saw coming. The breaking news leaked from the federal courts like a massive, high-profile earthquake, creating an instant panic that completely paralyzed the entire gospel entertainment market. This was not some minor tax penalty, nor was it a simple fine that a wealthy celebrity could easily sweep under the rug and move on from. This was a staggering, utterly comical ruling of $300 million. When that ridiculous number was printed on the official legal documents, the public stared in absolute disbelief. A civil judgment of that scale is not a basic warning. It is a declaration of total financial execution. It is a penalty specifically designed to liquidate every single asset, every luxury home, every music royalty, and every single dime a diva has ever made or ever hopes to touch for the rest of her life. As the juicy details of the lawsuit began hitting the internet, the actual scope of her scams became obvious, delivering a hilarious reality check that permanently ruined her holy reputation. The official indictments dropped against the church diva read exactly like a trashy, low-budget corporate crime thriller. Tina Campbell was hit with allegations of systemic corporate fraud, massive financial embezzlement, and running highly illegal business operations that lasted for a solid chunk of her career. Forensic auditors had quietly picked apart her messy paper trail, proving that behind the fake ministry branding and the overpriced stadium tours sat a trashy network of offshore bank accounts, faked artist contracts, and absolute lies. The exact same lady who made millions screaming about holy righteousness and biblical truth was now being legally classified as a financial predator who exploited her gullible church audience for pure greed. But the corporate nightmare was merely getting warmed up. As that comical $300 million penalty started trending all over social media, the internet instantly exploded with a brand new, highly toxic rumor. Viral threads, sketchy insider leaks, and fake legal experts on TikTok began screaming that this civil judgment was just a minor preview of the real show. The gossip spread like a virus. Federal agents were allegedly demanding the absolute maximum criminal sentence, meaning Tina Campbell could be looking at a brutal 10-year vacation in a federal lockup. The hilarious image of an overhyped, multimillionaire diva trades her designer stage outfits for a basic orange prison jumpsuit sent her remaining stans into a state of pure hysteria. The sheer comedy of this entire train wreck was honestly almost too much for the internet to fully process. Yet, throughout this massive, beautiful public roasting, the most awkward and sketchy part of the entire drama remained one specific detail: Tina's total, petrified lack of a statement. As the commentary channels got more ruthless, as her brand was completely dragged through the dirt, and as her desperate followers begged for a basic PR denial, the gospel queen chose absolute silence. This sketchy, highly defensive quietness hung over the entire internet scandal like a dark cloud, completely killing any remaining delusions her fans were clinging to. In the current era of viral content, staying quiet is never interpreted as dignity. It is universally mocked as a total admission of guilt. The internet quickly realized she wasn't making a statement because her legal team had absolutely nothing left to fabricate. The federal evidence was way too heavy, the trap had snapped shut, and any excuse she mumbled would be completely laughed out of court. The screen slowly goes dark, but the hilarious energy of this historic celebrity downfall is still dominating your feed. Now, the absolute best part of this drama depends entirely on your clicks. We have laid out the messy, chaotic timeline of this epic corporate execution, from the arrogant heights of her church platform to the cold, broke reality of a $300 million legal execution. You have witnessed the dramatic fallout fracturing her messy household, leaving Teddy and Leia Simone to deal with the embarrassing remains of a thoroughly fraudulent brand. But in a capitalistic industry where the boundary between a holy saint and a basic con artist is completely non-existent, what side are you actually buying? We need your comments dragging each other down in the section below. Is Tina Campbell just a helpless victim of a calculated legal system designed to extort a rich church icon? Or is this the hilarious, well-deserved karma for a lady who genuinely assumed her gospel fame made her immune to federal law? Is that rumored 10-year prison sentence just a highly exaggerated clickbait headline? Or is a federal cage the absolute perfect ending for a multi-million-dollar corporate scam? This comment section is about to become an absolute war zone, and your engagement is exactly what fuels our monetization. Drop your pettiest thoughts, your useless prayers, or your absolute rage in the comments right now. Let us argue about it. If you thoroughly enjoyed watching this diva's empire burn to the ground, And if you want to stay fed with the absolute messiest, most sensational celebrity scams, industry backstabbing, and federal lawsuits long before they ever hit legitimate news outlets, you absolutely cannot miss our next upload. Do not close this tab without manipulating the algorithm for us. Explode that like button, destroy the subscribe button immediately, and spam that notification bell so you never miss a single episode of this highly addictive investigative circus. Thanks for feeding our metrics, look out for yourselves, and we will definitely see you in the very next upload.